football. So, it was a network glitch. So it's almost pure insanity for anybody to be asking for indigenous rights. So I have to lay the foundation. Next week is going to be deep. We're going to go deep. And I'm going to be talking about Russia, Russian republics. I'm going to be talking about the European Kingdom. I'm going to be talking about United Kingdom. I'm even going to be talking about Spain. I'm going to be talking about Belgium. I'm going to be talking about Switzerland. We are going to break this country down one after the other. Because Europe has always been the good example that neoliberals love to preach, love to use about multiculturalism, about melting pot. We want to know how melting is Europe. What is the kind of pot that you have in Switzerland? What is the kind of pot that you have in United Kingdom? What kind of pot are they using to cook in Belgium? Because if you go and read Awolowo's conversation, Awolowo was the most brilliant of his generation. Everything we are saying today, Switzerland, Belgium, as a means to be able to warn this diabolical set of group from the southeast who are hell-bent of doing what has not been done anywhere in the world. The kind of the request that the southeast is asking for, you only saw that kind of request during the days of Imperial Britain in the United Kingdom. During the days of Imperial Britain, let me tell you what Britain did. Before 1801, between 1200 and 1801 and 1920. And I'm going to summarize this in 2-3 minutes. You see this struggle for Scottish identity, where you are going to see people like Andy Murray. Andy Murray is a known world-class Scottish player that plays table tennis, that plays lawn tennis. And Andy Murray is going to tell you, even though I carry the British passport, I prefer to be regarded as a Scot. I'm not English. You call Andy Murray English, he's going to be angry with you. So Andy Murray will say, I am Scottish. I am Scot. I'm a Scot. I'm Scottish. Why is Andy Murray thinking that way, saying that? Because there is a history. There is a history of a man called William Wallace. Who was William Wallace? William Wallace was a Scottish nationalist that refused to bow down when the English were busy expanding and conquering those non-English people. Now, there's a difference between the Scots and the English. There's a difference between the English and the Welsh. There's a difference between the Welsh and the Irish. United Kingdom has indigenous people. United Kingdom, if you are UK, you can only become a British citizen. You cannot become an indigenous person in Britain. There are levels of access you will never get access to. You can only, what the right you have is British citizenship. You can never, even if you live 300 years, you can never be a Scot. You can never be an English. You can never be an Irish. You can never be a Welsh. William Wallace was one of the leading generals, one of the best army commanders of his time. The English are Germans. They are Germanic people. The English people are Germanic people that crossed the ocean, crossed the sea from mainland Europe to take over that place called United England today. Wiped out the indigenous people. The indigenous people of England are called Britons. That is where you have the name British. That British is still the leftover of the name of the indigenous people. When you say you are proud, I'm a proud British, you are proud Britons because of that is the legacy of the conquered people. Because there are some histories that we need to start breaking down. And I'm happy we are back into the message I've been preaching for the past 5-6 years. And that said, we are not going to run away from anybody from Nigeria. The Yoruba people we bled and fought for the independence of Nigeria. The way Arewa has been able to stand for their rights and speak for what they believe is rightfully theirs within Nigeria without bowing down is the way we Yorubas are also going to stand. If we cannot survive in Nigeria, despite our power, despite the kind of population power we have, economic advantage we have, the brain power we have, then it's a joke for us to be talking about Yoruba nation. That's a joke. We're not running anywhere. We are not running anywhere. We stand here and get what belongs to us. If we practice the right politics, we are going to be powerful. It is because we are practicing the wrong politics. That is why we've become weak within Nigeria. So going back to my history, William Wallace fought for Scottish independence all his life. Do you know what happened to him? He was captured by the English, even though he was also betrayed. That's why when you fight for people, be very careful of treacherous people. Don't overlook it. And let us move on and forget. You end up being killed by the very people you are fighting for. I can tolerate Igbos that say all sort of nonsense. I can forgive Fulanis that say all sort of nonsense. But you see a Yoruba man that calls himself a Yoruba man or woman, who goes publicly to say, oh, TYF, oh, Leniwon, you can't forgive such a person. It's impossible. Because I've read history. I've studied history. The same pattern continues. Every great black man was destroyed by fellow blacks. Every great black movement was destroyed by fellow blacks. In the struggle for the independence for Haiti, it was black people that sold them out. All the slave revolts in America, that was why even though the blacks of Brazil were getting freedom, the blacks of America were still getting locked down because there were saboteurs. What destroyed the Black Panther? I see them, oh, Black Panther, Wakanda. Forget all those nonsense. It was a black man. How much did they give him? $100 or $200? He went to go and sell out Fred Hampton. And Fred Hampton and his colleagues, they were butchered with gun bullets by the American police. You need to understand these fundamentals. History does not repeat itself. People repeat history. People don't change. A leopard cannot change his skin. This is where we teach political education. This thing, we are just starting. We are just starting this thing. All people you've seen, they are red flag. Stay away from them. Anybody that want to blackmail you with any useless unity, let them go and unite in their corner. Because they will destroy everything you're doing. Nobody born of a woman or man will not understand how important this mission is. And if you have the spiritual eyes to see, you will see how great God has been using us. How will you now be destroying these great works? This work that has provided food for people on the table, giving people hope, that has been able to strike consciousness into the minds of powerful people, governors, presidents across Yoruba speaking world. This is what some of you now want to destroy. So they prefer build, you're not build organization, you're not a president, a leader. Now say we should forgive. It is impossible. Ọlọ́run nìkan ló ní forgiveness irú nǹkan báyìí lọ́wọ́. Because it is very difficult for Yoruba people to always rebuild. You destroy, it takes another 30, 40, 50 years. So we cannot afford to destroy this generation. So going back to William Wallace, what the English did to him, they dragged him into pieces on the street of London. They hanged him. They now cut off his stomach, removed his intestine while he was still alive and burnt it in his presence. In order to, and after they did that, they now cut his body into pieces. And is it King Edward, I've forgotten his name, said the Scottish people will never be free. So, when some of you get into Britain, learn the history of the United Kingdom. Why do you see Scottish people say, we are Scots, we are not English? It is because of the martyrdom and the struggle of people like William Wallace. And what are they fighting for? We are indigenous people. We will never be conquered by Germans that came to this country. For the past 2,000 years, the war has always been between indigenous people and settlers. The war has always been built on that. So when we said the Southeast wants to create war, that's what we mean. Look at what they are doing in Ghana. You want to go and buy land, Zionist model, like they did in the state of Israel. They bought land. You want to build a kingdom. And you built a palace for yourselves. That is madness on steroids. And they will surely get the report one day. Because everybody now see a danger. When we talk about open borders, multiculturalism, it is that when you move into a place, you integrate into that space. You learn the language. You learn the culture. And you become part of them. What we are having is that some people are moving into new spaces and creating parallel societies. That is why multiculturalism failed in Europe and the rise in far-right movement. The rise in far-right movement is because multiculturalism failed. Because people are not integrating into the whole society. And what are they trying to do? They are trying to destroy and uproot the indigenous culture using the weapon of multiculturalism, demographic changes, and democracy. The same thing we see the Southeast governors doing. Southeast leaders are doing. How do you destroy indigenous rights? Because of a country that was funded by the humiliation, destruction, and genocide of the indigenous people of West Africa. How do you come around and say, oh, for the sake of Nigeria, do they think we are stupid or we don't have a history like them? When you destroy the indigenous right of a people, you exterminate their culture and you turn it into a legacy of museums. That is why we must resist the Nigerianization of the Yoruba identity. Yoruba is Yoruba. That is why we say we are Yoruba first. We know what they are trying to do. What they are trying to do is to set the legal precedence for the destruction of indigenous identity. In the whole of the South, they do not have the civilization that can rival the Yoruba civilization. They can't even rival the Benis. They can't even rival the Jos. But they are ready to destroy everything while hiding under Nigeria. This is an insidious ideology. And I really want to thank the Lagos State government. If our government are doing fine, we will greet them. We will praise them. Our own sadists. We are not toxic people. We want to thank the Lagos State government for changing the bus stop in Lagos from Charlie Boy to Olamide Bado. May God continue to bless Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and all our political elite in Lagos. May the wisdom of God continue to be with them. It's never too late to listen to your people. You cannot be in Yoruba land. You are not indigenous to Yoruba land. But you are sponsoring a political revolution in our land, in our space. That's not democracy. You left the southeast to come to the southwest, and you are the arrowhead of every political agenda to upturn the political status quo that has given the Yoruba people stability. And we are now naming monuments after you. The sorrow. So that people will not say we are tribalists. We are stupid people if we refuse to act. People will not respect you if you're weak. Because Voxi Populi, Voxi Dei, the voice of the people is the voice of God. The indigenous people, when they still have the slight majority, and they still have power, must be able to use their God-given power to protect their space. Now, let me also go here. I said next week, I'm going to be going into each country. Master History, United Kingdom. Master History, Belgium. Master History, because this is the introduction. And I'm going to be talking about this indigenous thing for the next, I've been doing it. My past lectures, the Aztecs, the Mayan Empire, the Incas. I've been doing it for years. But I'm going to face it on Yoruba Ronu. Hopefully nothing will change. The issue, as I'm telling you about indigenous rights, I want to ask a question. Madam Shola, you are here. Madam Kara, you are here. Imagine ma follow. Ati Mr. Alabi. Madam Shola, I want to ask you a question, ma. How many places on earth as settlers, when they take over from indigenous people, as the indigenous people to be able to take back their land from them? All over the world. Has it ever happened, Madam Shola?
I can't think of any at the moment.
Thank you.
It will never happen because what you steal, you want to hold it, just like the white settlers in America and in
Thank you.
Thank
you. Madam Kara.
No, even in the UK, they're still trying to have more autonomy, and it hasn't really worked out.
Thank you very much.
And quick one, they always try and do their best to keep their population fine.
Yes, thank you. Kí ni mo gbìyànjú àti sọ fún yín? Níbikíbi tí wọ́n bá ti gba ilẹ̀ onílẹ̀, all over the world, once you lose your land, settlers are more conservative than the indigenous people. When you hear people like Trump saying, oh, we don't want our lands to be stolen by immigrants. Now the question is, 300 years ago, you people came to steal land from people. And you don't want any other person to take it from you. The Fulanis are very conservative when it comes to protecting land, political power in their domain. You know why? Because they know what it takes to take land from people. I want to say something very controversial today. I rarely do it. Bemaso, Ibadan people are very radical when it comes to protection of land. Meanwhile, Ilenye, àwọn Òwu àti Ẹ̀gbá ló ní ilẹ̀ yẹn. Àti Ìjẹ̀bú. Settlers are very, very radical when it comes to protection of the land. Look at what the Turkish people, the Turks stole the land from the Greeks, the Romans. In Constantinople, current day, they stole a whole empire from indigenous people. They stole Constantinople, the Bismarck Strait. Share Europe, the Romans, have they been able to take back that land? The answer is no. 800 years. The settlers are very ruthless. They are very, very ruthless in the protection of their land. Bí Bí wọ́n ṣe máa defend ilẹ̀ yẹn máa ju bọ́n ṣe defend Jerusalem lọ. Báwọn Israel ṣe ń defend Jerusalem lọ. In tó lè save yín, ó ní pé don't let them take your land. Don't let them. I don't give a damn. Àwọn kan ti sign. Tribalist, bigotry. That mark has been on my back for the past 15 years. I don't care. I'll lose friends. I'll lose contracts. I'll lose economic opportunity. But one day when I go back to my ancestors, I will not have tried. That is the covenant I have. Every means, political means, everything, lobbying means, I will prostrate. I will look like Didiri. To get what needs to be gotten. So that this race will not perish. Until the right generation comes to do the right thing. A generation that will have the full anointing to finish the job. But what we are witnessing is, look, the Igbos have a powerful think tank. You look at what they say, how audacious can you be? How audacious. It's just like the Fulanis also have a think tank. The Yoruba people don't have any think tank. Tank you call pure water. Tank you. There's no tank can let you ban now. Tank. But tank you are. It's not a laughing matter. Kò sí nǹkan kan lẹ Yorùbá mọ́. Kò sí ọwọ́ Ọlọ́run la wà o. Àwọn táwọn ronú bí ẹni tí God. Oh God of mercy. No. Because I know what I'm saying. There's no tank. There's no think. Kí ló ń jẹ́ think tank? Tank thinking ni. Kí ló kàn wọ́n? Àwọn tó ti jayé ọmọ wọn wáyé. That I will not, there's some things I cannot say in public. Àbáwá bẹ̀ wọ́n náà ni. Adema fọ̀rọ̀ wọn sínú àdúrà. So there is no place on earth where you legislate indigenous people, indigenous rights. Indigenous right is gotten through blood and conquest. No empire reigns forever. Russia does not practice melting pot. You go to Chechen, you go to Dagestan. Those are Christian places, Muslim places. They even practice Islam. They have Sharia law. In Russia, in those places, Chechens. So why the Russian Empire has been existing for close to 900 years. From Russian Empire to USSR. It's still the same thing. Why do you now want to say you want to destroy indigenous rights? Why do you want to turn Nigeria to a colony, to a secular colony? When you legislate and destroy indigenous rights without firing a single bullet, the Yoruba civilization has been destroyed. So an Igbo man that migrated into your space 10 years ago has the legal right to take up arms and fight you as an indigenous person. Indigenous. And when you take it to any court of law, they are going to ask you, àwọn Igbos máa mú jáde pé law ti Nigeria lóore, and they will start telling you territorial integrity. Today wọ́n fi sọ̀rọ̀ Balfour Declaration. Balfour Declaration ni àwọn Jews, Zionists, Onanlo, tó fi ń defend what they are doing in Palestine to date. And Britain cannot say, àwọn ò sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n ò lè renege. Because it's the Balfour Declaration. I told you there was a Balfour Declaration. There was also a signatory where Britain gave that land to the Palestinians. Britain gave that land also to France. So, ẹ tó bá ní ìbọn, tí ìbọn ẹ̀ bá tóbi jù, ló máa lọ claim lẹ́yìn. Àwọn Brit Jews ló ní ìbọn they have the biggest guns. So we cannot afford. That's why you see you see United Arab Emirates. The indigenous people are just maybe 2 million. But àwọn àjòjì ń bẹ, they are close to 10 million or 12 million. You cannot participate in the political process because the political process is in the hands, power is in the hands of the indigenous people, and there is peace and prosperity. The reason why Nigeria was broken into pieces, the regions were broken into pieces, is to give indigenous people political power and political say in their affairs. And the Igbos were against it. They never wanted the minority indigenous people. They didn't even want to have the majority indigenous people to have a say in their policy. That is why the Igbos have always been waging propaganda warfare about what we call the Yoruba identity. They want to turn you into minorities. The Ijeshas should be Ijeshas. Awori should be Awori. Fortunately, we thank Almighty God. Inti wọ́n plan fún Yorùbá, àwọn ni wọ́n forí wọn gbé. That's why Ikwere, Anioma, all these Ukwani, Eche, Ekpeye people are always disgracing them on social media that they are not Igbos. I'm sorry, if you know your history, you will never have any single pity for their nonsense victim cry from the Southeast. No pity. Because everything they wanted for us. Go and look at what the Igbo intellectuals were advocating for the Yoruba people. They wanted to break Yoruba land into 3 parts. Ondo Ekiti should be taken into the Midwest. Kalofi build the Benin Empire. They wanted to create that Oyo, Osun, Kwara axis. They wanted to call the Yoruba Central State. It's written in the, go and read that one. I will also have a biography. I've forgotten the name of this second book.
Thought on Nigerian Constitution and cassava.
Thought of Nigeria. Yes. Thought of Nigeria.
Is it when he called us cassava in Ijebu and cola nut for Egba?
Yes, yeah, part of it. Yeah. So, he said those places, because they are mostly Yoruba Muslims, you should go and form another region. And Lagos should be taken out. That's how he broke us into, along religious lines. Eastern Yoruba land out, Yoruba Muslims out. That was what Zeke was saying how Nigeria should be constructed. So you think those people that were thinking that way, in the 1940s, 1950s, all of a sudden, one Nigeria, and that's why I said there is no second chance. Àti ìrí ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣẹ̀kírì yanjú, àti ìrí ọ̀rọ̀ olùkùnmí yanjú, àti ìrí ọ̀rọ̀ Kogi yanjú, àti ìrí ọ̀rọ̀ Kwara yanjú. Ó lè lọ dìbò fún Peter Obi kó wá ní ọ̀lọ́fẹ́ sọ́ọ̀dì ẹjẹ́ gbàgbé ẹ̀, má ṣe máa fojú kan wù ẹ́. Má ṣe máa fojú kan wù ẹ́. Má ṣe máa fojú kan wù ẹ́. Because gbogbo yín kàn jókòó sí, and imagine Peter Obi in Aso Rock. Ká máa gbé indigenous bill, kẹ́ wá lọ máa gbé bọn. Wọ́n máa fi drone, wọ́n fi pààyàn dànù ní tí ojúkú ṣe fún àwọn adakaboro nìyẹn. When Nrosi imposed the unitary system of government, àwọn ìjọ táwọn parí àwọn ti bàjẹ́ already, unfortunately in the eastern region, they knew this was a death sentence. Oil has been discovered in their land. As at 1950s, late 1950s, 1961, all our Southeast intellectuals only want to draw agenda how they will control the oil in that area, in the minority space. In fact, they wanted to do a kind of a collaboration so that they will be controlling the oil in the Midwest. This issue of the South is always longing over other people's resources. There has always been, under the name of one Nigeria, has always been what characterizes this country. It's a problem. We've been politically correct with the truth. And they've been vested in massive propaganda. And they also did one thing. The best brains in Yoruba land has been killed and destroyed. I know what I'm talking about. One leader is equivalent to 10 million people. Torí ẹni, Tinubu this, tẹ́ bá pa Tinubu, ìyà máa jẹ. Nígbà tán ti pẹ́ MKO ń sìn, replacement ti dà. Màá máa rán yín létí o. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tó jẹ́ pé expert kan mọ destroy Yorùbá leadership, ibẹ̀ lẹ wà. Màá máa bí yín léèrè. Torí àwọn èèyàn burúkú kan bẹ láàrin wa. Their leaders are something that should be used for suya.
Can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
There's a book written by Max Sloan. He's actually from Abia State, but he's a very good writer. I'm just going to read out of it what he says, which should tell us that this Biafra thing is a scam. It said it would either have to incorporate minority ethnic groups in Southeast Nigeria by force or allow them to opt out. If it chooses the former option, it would be viewed as an occupying force. And if it chooses the latter, it would be landlocked and deprived of the great oil wealth that lies in the Niger Delta. A landlocked country, surrounded by resentful neighbors, with no coastal access and no oil wealth, would be doomed to fail. That's in his book, Nigeria's Soldiers of Fortune, page 203. So this indigenization is the very best option for them.
Thank you very much, ma.
Can I say something as well?
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. I just want you to emphasize on what they did in 1966. Because by killing Paketola, they were able to steal our wealth and our autonomy.
Yeah, you're very correct. And thank you so much, ma. Eshima. So your leaders, even if it's if you see that leader that at least out of 100, it still speaks for you 20-30%. Ẹ má jẹ́ kán panu Nigeria o. Because Nigeria runs like a deep state. What your leader will say is equivalent to what the entire race is saying. To create Nigeria, 1914 amalgamation, it was the Alaafin of Oyo that the British went to go and do kangaroo meeting. And they said he's speaking for the entire Yoruba race. Also, how? But last 1914, that amalgamation is still binding on the rest of us to date. So the person that speaks for you matters. And you must be very careful. That's when Nigeria operates. That's what you've seen what the Igbo elites have done. They've re-engineered and created an Igbo leader that is not intelligent, very dumb, very stupid. He's a liar. I'm talking about Peter Obi. He's a liar, a fraudster. And they used the media to turn him into whitewash him into a messiah. Even though the reality, say this guy is empty. They say he's not part of the system. Somebody that was the governor of a state for 80 years with corruption allegation. No mentorship, nothing whatsoever. No legacy. One day, it is intentional because you have to know who can they turn to? And you appreciate the leaders in you. And they understand that just tell the Yoruba people about Omoluabi. Just tell the Yoruba people about morality. They will kill their leaders for you. They will kill them. And I don't destroy Yoruba. No, I understand. Just come out and say, oh, TY stole 200 million. They know that most people will go there. Oh, what's my retweet? Before somebody asks question. Hey, Joshelo Tony. Kini, we know them. Just continue to look. Àṣírí máa fẹ́ tú. Àṣírí wo ló ń tú? Kini ó sọ pé wọ́n ní wọ́n jí? In terms of àwọn people here, they are not what they think they are. Now, Posita fún wa ní evidence. Torí wọ́n mọ̀ pé some nǹkan tí ń change ń sìn o. Thank God for Ronú. Thank God for Yorùbá Renaissance. Kẹ́ tó bọ́ tánsìn kẹ́ báyé ọmọ Yorùbá kan jẹ́. Yoruba people are now asking questions. Could that be 5-6 years ago? Oh, Lenny, jungle justice, mo ti lọ mú òkúta. Ẹ pa olóòótọ́. Ẹ máa pa aláìṣẹ̀, ẹni á wá fi ègún lélẹ̀. Ègún á tún pọ̀ tẹ̀lé ègún. Ègún tó ti pọ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá already. Àwọn tó dẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n á mórí mú. Because they know. The reason why you cannot do that amongst the Igbos and the Fulanis is that you cannot. Wọ́n á bí ẹlẹ́rìí pé ìwé kí ló ń sọ lẹ́nu? Kí ló ń sọ? Because the Yoruba people want to be moralists in a jungle. We are going to get ourselves killed. Sincerely, I will end here. We don't need moralists as leaders. If you see any Yoruba leader that comes out and say, I have one shoe, my father used to sell pure water, my mother used to sell agbojedi, atoshodi, I used to drink kuli and gari. I am here, I'm the new Awolowo, run away from your life, for your life. We don't need moralists. We need people that will damn any consequences and will put Yoruba interest first within Nigeria. People that will damn consequences. For the sake of the Yoruba people, for the greater cause, for the greater good. Their morality is based on Yoruba interests. That's the way other people are doing in Nigeria, for God's sake. What is the morality that the Igbos, that the Ebira did 8 years under Yaya Bello? They did 8 years under Yaya Bello. Instead of leaving power and say, oh, Yoruba people, what did they do? Yaya Bello placed his family member to continue. A minority, 4 or 5 local government law. So morality, and before Ebira people also became the governor, they used to do solidarity with the Yoruba people of Kogi State. Oh, Igala people are marginalizing us. Ebira bossy power by. Oh, ju àwọn Yorùbá dànù ni, ẹ̀yin dìdìrín. Therefore Yoruba people ni, àwọn alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ bọ́ síta, àwọn dèjàre yanjú, wọ́n kọ́ bọ́ síta. What we Yoruba people are doing is ethnocentrism. Jungoism. Àwọn olórí burúkú ẹ̀dá. Wọ́n lè dàbí ìsọkúsọ. Àwọn olórí burúkú, àwọn tó yẹ ká tì mọ́ bí kan fi ń tí àgàsì lójú. Because we are deceiving ourselves. I don't need you. Look, I have a lot of leaders. So. He made his money from China. Importation, let him make Owo. He's not supposed to be a Yoruba leader. Kí ló kàn tèmi ń bẹ̀? Make Owo yẹn, ó ṣàfi wá túnlẹ̀, ó dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ fún Yoruba interest. I don't need a moralist. Is Trump a moralist? A divorcee of 5? Elon Musk, what he divorced more than 6-7 times. He's doing white agenda. Àwọn yẹn dẹ̀ support it. Because ó wúlò fún white interest. Bí white ṣe ń ronú nìyẹn. Àwọn Fulani, Arewa won't support Buhari because Buhari is not a moralist. Buhari is good gan ní administration, but don't defend the Arewa interest. Àwọn ò ní wo gbogbo ọmọlúwàbí rádàrá tá ń sọ yẹn. Àwọn máa defend the interest, wọ́n máa protect ẹ̀. Oh, Tinubu is a drug bearer. Tinubu is a, àwọn agbèrò. Ble. Awolowo tí ò ń ṣàgbèrò, ṣáájú the president. The world is not for the righteous. If you are looking for righteousness, you go to heaven. The kingdom of God is for people like you. The kingdom of art is for the strong. And àti ìdéjọba Ọlọ́run, ẹ̀yin Christian. So kingdom of art láwà. So ẹ̀yin àwọn ọmọ líle làwa wà. Tó dẹ̀ wúlò fún Yorùbá interest. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ẹ̀yin àwọn ọmọ líle làwa wà. Ibi táwa wà nìyẹn o. Oh, and start speaking for these politicians. TYS, start speaking for the Peter myself for Peter Obi, but Peter Obi was a politician. Peter Obi was a politician. In Jamaica, and Peter Obi. Our politician Yoruba ni evil. But politician Igbo, Messiah ni Abi. Àlàyé ń ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yín. What if we activism, and it's not your fault. Shemo, and you better pass to June 12, PTSD ni. Our parents were to buy oṣiṣi tear gas. So, what moralistic rini. We don't need a moralist. Do Yoruba interest. We don't care maybe you're a marijuana smoker, a chain smoker, a tobacco smoker. I'm saying this on here. I'm not interested in that. You are going to church, you are going to mosque, you don't fast, you don't do any of these things. Are you doing Yoruba interest? That's what matters to us. You have 10 wives. That's your business. That's your bedroom problem. It's a womanizer. Kilo katemi pẹ̀lú yẹn. It's a kiniko. Is he ready to die for Yoruba interest? That is the highest level of nationalism. That's how you see politics. School cert, he does not, he only has one school cert. Kò lè NYSC certificate. Intellectual at PhD, Harvard, MIT, GRV. Irú yẹn máa tà yẹn fún Igbo ni. Ṣé irú yẹn lẹ fẹ́ fi síbẹ̀? Or ẹni tẹ́ pé kò ní ju school cert lọ. Ó dẹ̀ máa defend ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. That is the definition of nationalism. Political education. Ẹ máa wo nǹkan ni. Microscopically. No emotions. And nationalism tá ń ṣe kò tí ì ní agbára púpọ̀ o. Don't create enemies. APC is evil. APC is evil. Àwọn Southeast politicians then dey campus APC. South politicians then dey campus APC. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ń sọ fún yín pé APC is evil. Ẹ̀yin Yorùbá lẹ gbérú ẹ̀ sórí. Ṣáyé ń ṣe yín ni. Igbo wa sọ fún yín, APC is a useless party. Meanwhile, Imo State Governor, ó lò 2 years, ó lò 2 terms. Ebonyi, Umahi, APC tún wọlé. Ó possible kan fún more APC governors to emerge in the Southeast. Why they are telling you should destroy APC's evil in the Southwest. Bosita, you'll be parroting the same thing. There's no APC, there's no PDP in the Yoruba land. What we have is Yoruba interest and Yoruba party. Emi ò ní political party o. Emi ò ní o. If you are doing what is right, ẹ̀yin èèyàn má bínú. Oh, this politician did not do well. And he comes out to say, even though I can gbé in tó ń sọ nìyẹn o. Wọ́n parọ́ mọ́ mi ní o. Wọ́n parọ́ mọ́ mi ní I'm for Yoruba interest o. Ẹ̀yin náà àti gbọ́ sáà ẹ ṣé gan. Even though ẹ mọ̀ pé wọ́n gbé yín mọ́ra ni. Kèsè pé kí ni ẹ máa yàwó ẹ máa ṣòfò ni. Look, they have power to destroy also. Don't create enemies. Don't create unnecessary enemies. Be tactical. Orúkọ tí ẹ máa sọ ọmọ inú ẹni ló ń gbé. Olódùmarè á ràn wá lọ́wọ́ o. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi ẹ ṣé o. Gbogbo ìgbà tí mo pẹ́ dé yẹn gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ check on mi tẹ́ ti message Arẹ́búlẹ́wà ẹ ṣé adúpẹ́ o. Next week we start the history of the UK, Belgium, Switzerland, Russian Empire. How Russia ṣe ní Kazakhstan. What Russia did in Belarus. Belarus is called White Russians. How Russia took over Belarus. I'm going to explain it. What Russia did in eastern Ukraine, the Holodomor. What Russia did in Crimea. Crimea tí Russia lọ gbà yẹn used to belong to the Turkish people. It was a base where Turkish people were using to launch slave raids to capture white slaves and be selling to the Ottoman Empire and to the Arab world. Russia went to annex and erase the entire Crimeans and russify that place because it used to be a slave post, an outpost. See, our Arab world at our Ottomans starting attacking Russian Empire. That's how Crimea today is almost 100% Russian. We'll go into that. We will explain all these things and properly take it over and properly lay the foundation. Thank you so much, my brothers and sisters on stage. Without you, there can never be me. Without you, there can never be TYF. And I'm using this opportunity to thank every single person here. Those that listen to this lecture and those that are in the audience. Mo lè má rí yín o because of network issues. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ o. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ o. Dáadáa yín ò ní bàjẹ́ o. Ilé yín ò ní dàrú o. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní bàjẹ́ o. I am so grateful. It is because of you we are going to places. TYF cannot exist without the support of the Yoruba people. Are cannot even survive without your support. It is your support that has been the oxygen that has been driving us. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ o. Ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa o. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.